So
Look at me shine, I'm on the grind, handling mines, I get it for real. Taking my time, make up my mind, then I go get it. How does it feel? Came from the bottom, straight out the mud. Nigga, I came up from nothing. Niggas was hating, niggas was doubting, now I'm just pushing they buttons. Look at me shine, I'm on the grind, handling mines, I get it for real. Taking my time, make up my mind, then I go get it. How does it feel? Came from the bottom, straight out the mud. Nigga, I came up from nothing. Niggas was hating, niggas was doubting, now I'm just pushing they buttons. Been a hater since like forever, my nigga. What's all of the fuss for? You see me shining, I know that you watching. You stay on my page, so you must know. Someone told me my Durango was ugly, like why I got dents in the front though. But then a week later I saw the same nigga, but they was still waiting on the bus though. How ironic, I'm shining on them. Never stop, I keep grinding on them. My girl ex probably hate my guts, now her ring got blue and white diamonds on them. Hell yeah, niggas plotting on me, but my son spoiled rotten, homie. And that mean you come at me, you gon' need a freezer, not a doctor, homie. But back to the car, fuck it run. I just don't look at the mileage. I don't
man, oh man, oh man. Jay, I can't even run. Can you hear me?
You can't. Yeah, I can hear you. Everything good? Hello? Hey, Duncan, what's going on?
Man, can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so I think Kim having internet problems. We can jump into it though, you know.
So he keep getting kicked out.
Yeah. So this starting tomorrow, we have the women's Final Four.
Right.
And then on Saturday, we have the men's Final Four. It's an unlikely Final Four on the men's side, but it's a welcoming four on the women's side. First thing I want to talk about is Dawn Staley taking her South Carolina team into the Final Four as an undefeated team. They have won 42 straight games, right?
Right.
So all the talk I've been hearing about is Caitlin, triple-double 41. Why aren't they talking about Aliyah Boston that's going to our third Final Four in 4 years and literally could have went to 4, but in 2020, it was a pandemic, so they were undefeated that year and couldn't compete. She's on the best team that hasn't lost, so why would they give it to Caitlin? But on Friday, she's going to see a South Carolina defense that she ain't never seen before, and let's see if she can get a 40-point triple-double on Friday. And then on the other side, it's great because we have Virginia Tech, who's never been, and we have a black coach on that side. And we have 2 black coaches in the Final Four, which is excellent for women's basketball.
Right.
And you also have Kim Lockley, who coached at Baylor, that has 3 national championships. One of 3 people in women's college basketball that have 3 national championships.
Right.
Went back to our home when she went to LSU.
Right.
Who has a girl from Baltimore who transferred from Maryland. That's one of her best transfers in, and they're in the Final Four.
Right.
So you have Virginia Tech, first time being in the Final Four, going against LSU on one side, That's a 7:00 game. And then you have Dawn Staley, who's came into South Carolina and changed that program culture. Already has 2 national championships, so she's going to cement herself, which I think she already has, by taking this team undefeated and winning her 3rd national championship on Sunday. So they first got to deal with Iowa, and I just wanted to set up the premise for you guys before we jump into the men's and let y'all talk about it. How you doing, Steve? How you been, man? Long time no see.
Likewise, Jay. How are you today?
I'm great, man.
Steve, bro. How you doing?
Hopefully,
how you doing, Coach?
No, good,
hopefully, Steve, KB was able to show you on my podcast, and you was able to review those.
Okay, that's awesome. All right.
Okay, can I speak on the women's Final Four?
Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
All right, so look, I take in a lot of women basketball this year. I'm a March Madness junkie. I call myself the Black Bracketologist, right? So I've been doing this since I was like 10 years old, man. I would take off work Thursday and Friday and everything when the tournament started. Like, you can go ask my ex-wife. She'll tell you. She knew where I was at when the tournament started. However, this year for the women has been a little different, right? And one thing about the women tournament, it seems like either one or the two is going to make it there. Like the women tournament,
a chop.
Right? It's not balanced yet. The transfer portal haven't balanced it out yet like it did the men. But let me say this: I do like Caitlin, right? What up? Where we go?
Yeah. I don't know what KB doing, man.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's scared me. Like, don't leave me on this joint by myself, bro. Come on. Son. Yeah, I might mess with y'all. Come back. I'll be naked. Y'all like, well, I thought I was by myself. No, I like having fun. See, don't mind me. See, I have fun. But anyway, let me tell you, on the women's side, I have watched Iowa play several times this year. Caitlin is probably one of the best skilled shooters I have seen from the women's side, probably ever. Like, only person I remember being as good as her was Diana Taurasi. But Taurasi wasn't a shooter like this young girl is. And, Steph Curry influenced the game now. So I do believe she is, and it's just me, the best one individual scorer in women's college basketball.
Okay.
A scorer. She's the best scorer. Okay. Right? Do I think she's the best player to give her the player of the year? I don't think so. I think Angel, the numbers that Angel put up this year, right? Now let's remember the South Carolina game when they played South Carolina, he got in foul trouble early. Now I'm dying to see this matchup again in the championship without her getting in foul trouble early because it sat on the bench for a while and South Carolina pulled away with her.
Well, the one key thing is this though, man. She'll still get in foul trouble because they come in waves. So she will still get in foul trouble. You got a 6'7" girl coming off the bench. So it don't matter. She will get in foul trouble. Right. And LSU is a 1-2 punch.
Right.
And South Carolina is a team.
Right. You're right.
Hey, Coach, if I get intervene, Coach, you remember, like, I watched that game. I have a daughter. She's a basketball player. She's 13, so she's really heavy into basketball. And my wife played college basketball at Howard. So it's girls basketball in my house a lot.
Right. I already know that.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a question, Coach. Angel, out of her game because she was trying to continue that streak, that double streak, if I recall. But Alicia Boston, I think that's a young lady named for South Carolina, Boston. She gave that girl all she could handle. As a 6'4" stature, Angel couldn't do anything.
Right.
And then if she tried to get around that loop, remember, she didn't get double that game either. So what would be the strategy, in your opinion and your experience, for Angel to overcome that adversity that she faced in our first game? What can she do to change? And I think it's all mental.
Right.
Do she have the mental capacity to change
Right.
now that Alicia was stopping her from that street?
Right.
Boston has something in her to say, I'm gonna continue doing what she's doing, because if not, Angel gonna go off for 30, 35 on him.
See, Stephen J, let me ask you this. What kind of athletes are y'all? What kind of athletes are y'all, or what kind of athletes were you? 'Cause I'm still an athlete. So what kind of athletes are y'all? What kind of athletes were you?
I was a running back.
Okay.
I was a running back. I was like a 4.41. I was 6'1", 230. So
Running
I was
back.
pretty. Yeah, I probably had I could stand even court and dunk the ball. So I was a pretty good athlete.
So you play basketball too, though?
Yeah, I was like a 3-sport athlete. And
Okay.
yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Jay, what kind of athlete were you?
I'm an athlete, yo. Point guard.
Oh, hell, you're a point guard.
I was the same thing.
Yeah. So, I see the game differently.
Right.
And then football, I played linebacker. I don't know why I wasn't as big as everybody, but I was fast.
Right.
And then I played wide receiver, kick return, and stuff like that.
All right.
Baseball, it was too hot outside, so I didn't play. But all my friends wanted me to play, and I could hit curveballs, fastballs, and stuff like that. But mentally, my capacity of understanding sports wasn't where it was at that age.
Right.
Because black kids wasn't doing all those things, even though I was in a place where black kids was doing that things. And then I also could have ran track and did hurdles and all that, but that wasn't part of my life.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about that.
So I asked y'all this for this reason, right? To answer your question, Steve, I asked you this for this reason. So the type of athlete I was one, I hate losing. I just did an interview the other day, and I told the athletic director, I'm probably the sorest loser you ever gonna meet. Now, understand this. I'm a great sportsman. I'm gonna congratulate you because you won. I ain't pouting and nothing like that. I'm never gonna say that you won. But at the end of the day, when I say I'm a sore loser, I'm not gonna get no sleep until I figure you out.
Wow.
You can ask my wife, you can ask my kids. I'm gonna be the only game when I lost games, coaching and playing, I don't sleep until I figure out how you beat me. Even when we play pickup basketball, you only gonna beat me one time. Once I figure you out, I'm gonna cook, I'm gonna take your lunch all day long, I'm gonna eat your lunch. And so the reason I say that is because I see that in Angel. Her competitive nature is so strong, and I don't think it's a front. She's from a place where we from.
Right.
So she got a different type of dog in her. Right? I see to make it when you make it out of Baltimore. I know they say about New York, but when you make it out of Baltimore, you can make it anywhere. Like you can literally do anything if you make it out of Baltimore. So the type of athlete that I see her as her competitive nature and everything, I see her going into this game already. I only learned my lessons. Only learned when I lost games. I never even looked at film when I won. Because I didn't learn nothing, and only learned when I lost. So if she got the same nature that I think she has as a competitor, she wouldn't see how they lost, and then she know how to attack the situation. I think she has a better game this time. If they make it to the championship to play each other. Right. I think she has a better game this time, but it looks like Destiny is going to line that up. And I think she has a better game this time. I think she gets the double-double. And I really honestly think LSU wins it.
Woo! Bold statement there.
But see, I don't believe so, because if you look at her game, she's a little out of control, right? She's left-hand dominant, just like her brother. Out of control, just like the girl from Maryland last game.
Right.
One-dimensional, you too fast, your mind don't catch up with your body.
Right.
So if she had a refined game, I would agree with you, but her game is not refined.
Got you.
Alicia Boston, it has a refined game, and she understands the game, and she has a team around her. It's 1-2 punch. If the point guard for LSU is off, they done.
Right.
So they don't have enough firepower to beat them. Maryland put up 80 points. Have you seen LSU put up 80 points this whole tournament? Right. So if you can't score, and they bring that defensive pressure against you, and they not only bringing one girl, they bringing 2 and 3 girls at her. When LSU only got one girl to bring. So when Aaliyah Boston sits down, they bring a 6'7" girl off the.
Yeah. She run the floor, block shot, everything.
And then not only that, when they take the starting point guard off, they bring in a 5-star Raven Johnson off that's from Georgia, who pushes the tempo, and that changes everything.
Right.
So you start off one way, and then you got a girl who came into South Carolina as a stopper, and they're gonna put her on Caitlin tomorrow.
Right.
Rebuild. So
that's a 6'4" girl, Jay.
Yeah, 6'4".
Okay.
Rebuild. She like 6'1", 6'2".
6'1". I'm sorry. Yeah, the dark skinned young lady. Yeah.
Light skin lady. The light skin lady.
She want to shoot the three. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So they're gonna put her on Caitlin tomorrow. And if LSU had more firepower, like the LSU coach, she'll get the firepower. They just don't have it this year. She'll get the firepower. Angel will be there next year, and they'll have a better team. And then Donna lose all her seniors, and Donna fall back a little bit. And I think next year will be better for LSU. This year, though, Destiny is on their side. You undefeated, you understand. And they said the thing about South Carolina is the second time they play them, they usually blow them up. Because the first time against Ole Miss played them tough. The next game, beat them by 30. The first time they played UCLA, close game. The next game, they beat them by 20.
Right.
So the thing is, Dawn is a great coach.
She is probably one of the best we ever seen.
She's not going to let Angel kill her. Right. Angel don't understand yet that slow down. If she understands how to slow down, she could probably kill Aaliyah Boston, because Aaliyah Boston's footwork is not as fast as her.
Right.
But she's in 100 miles per hour every time she gets the ball.
Right.
She fouled out of last game. How do you foul out of that game against Miami when they don't have no big girls? How did you foul out?
Yeah.
Offensive fouls.
Exactly.
Offensive fouls.
So that means you're playing out of control.
Right.
Against a Miami team that's undersized, that all she had to do was take her time and she could have dominated.
Right. It's funny, man. We talk about that. I see something different in the women's game that, as far as refereeing or officiating, that I don't see in the men's game. And so a lot of offensive charges in the women's game are not the same offensive charges in the men's game. And that puzzles me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not fair across the board. Like, it puzzles me. It's like, if you coaching, it's like you don't even know. I don't even know what a charge or a block is no more, to be honest.
I think the physicality, though, changes the calls, right?
Right.
And a lot of calls that I saw over the weekend, when girls was running into each other, some of them, this one player, Leah Boston, blocked the shot, and they was anticipating her fouling her, and she didn't foul, and they called a foul.
Right.
And then you see some girls, and see the announcers mess it up as well. They were like, she was out of restricted lane, but she wasn't set. So I don't care if you're out of restricted lane, if you ain't set, and then she goes around it, it's not a charge.
Right.
And see, I think the announcers are doing a bad job of dictating, telling you exactly what's going on, call before making a decision on what the call should be, before they make the announcement.
Right.
So what you think, Steve?
I was thinking about the matchup with Carolina and Iowa, and here's what I'm nervous about. Iowa stretching them, spreading them to try to create 1-on-1. And as Coach said, Caitlin, like, her shot is just it's extraordinary. I mean, we haven't seen it like that in women's basketball, in this time, and not in my lifetime. So the young lady I was thinking, I researched it. The young lady I think would be a perfect fit for her is Letitia Amir. I believe that's her name. I think she's athletic enough to get up in Caitlin, and she's more. And I always look at in sports and coaching, you and Jay, you too. I always look at lateral movement. Mm-hmm. Lateral movement is so important in sports, especially in football and basketball. You're running back, you come make a jump cut right, left, and get back up and get back vertical. All these things is very important. And I think this young lady have great lateral movement, and she have length at 6'4" to really isolate her. I would like to see, for me to go with South Carolina, they need a better presence in the post from the other two young ladies. Boston, I guess they try to play her more so bring her out of the box more so and feed the other two young ladies in there. But I just think that they can really win a lot of games with a high-low approach. You know what I'm saying? Putting one at the foul line, putting one at the bottom. And they did a little bit the last game against Maryland, and it looked pretty nice, but they could do that isolation on a high-low. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody, I think they'll run the table, but I'm really nervous about the Iowa game. I would tell you, whenever you're facing the shooter, it changed the momentum of the game. Right. And the thing is, we had a neutral site. And we know there was some conflicts between Don and Gino. Right. And, it's a lot of, we know because we African-American men and we face a lot of adversity growing up. It's this, even to this day from young to, we are looked at difference in American society. Now you got a female coach that can rewrite history in women's sports.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And the thing is like, two things to me is if they let that girl go, it's going to be one thing, officiating going to be the key in this tournament. Are they going to officiate South Carolina differently than they have done all year? And that's going to be key. And I'm really nervous for Dawn. We just live in an American society that, no matter how great we are, they try to handcuff us. And if they let them girls play, nobody going to compete with them. Right. But I really think that it's an X factor in it, and that's it's the Caitlin young lady and the referee. Right. It's kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous about it.
See, I look at it. I look at it this way, Steve. This is how I look at it, and I'm gonna be blunt and straightforward. Right? They start 5 white girls, right?
Yeah.
When the last time you seen 5 white girls win a championship in women's basketball?
I don't think I have.
That goes the answer. It's not going to happen because
what's the counter of that though, Jay? What's the counter of that? Like, wouldn't it be when they just indicted Trump today, right? Well, today, right?
Yeah.
President indicted.
I just wanted to put that, Steve. I just wanted to put that out there. Then I'm gonna give you the counter to this, though, right? Like,
okay.
You said the high low, right?
Yeah.
When they bring the 6'7" girl in, that's when they do the high low.
Okay.
They start the one girl who's physical and can get the girls in foul trouble, and then they bring her off the bench, and they have Boston at the high and put the 6'7" girl down low. When I looked at Iowa, sure they hit jump shots and stuff like that, but their defense is not that great. So I think South Carolina will be able to score easily, and I agree with you. The calls, because they want to enjoy and put Caitlin on a pedestal, is going to be pivotal, and I agree with you 100%. But I think the fact that matter is they've been through the rigor. They got 3 singers, so they know how to win. They don't want to lose. They, like you said, Coach, they don't want to lose.
Right.
So those 3 girls that lost to Stanford when Leah Boston didn't put it back in the basket and they lost that tournament game in her second year, they don't want to feel that feeling again. And because of that, I know it's going to be a neutral site, but I think Don is going to have a game plan that's going to really frustrate them, because that's what Maryland did. They spread them out. In that first quarter, Maryland looked great.
Yeah.
Second quarter, they started to separate. It was up 8 at the half. And then the third quarter was all up downhill. Right. So a lot of times, Iowa has put up all these points, but what has the defense been against her in those games? It ain't been tough defense. See, I watched the game. They let her run right down the court and laid it by out. They didn't even touch her.
Right.
I'm like, what kind of defense is that? Y'all just gonna let her walk down the court and don't touch her?
Right.
She can't impact the game scoring 40 points, 12 assists, and 12 rebounds like that. She can't do that.
Houston and Dallas this week, Jeff. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
They're in Houston and Dallas this weekend.
They're in Dallas.
They're in Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah. They should better handle it then. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just think that whenever we had our greatness and at our pinnacle as a community, it's always the X factor that gets in the way, and we come out frustrated. Our prayers are with all the young ladies, specifically, but particularly, I hope that Dawn brings to the table what you say she brings to the table. I hope she have everything for every adversity that she may be faced with this coming weekend, that she can overcome it and execute a plan. Because I feel as though it may. I don't know. I'm not Christ. I ain't no angel or nothing. I just feel like in my spirit that she gonna be faced with something that the team will have to overcome. You know, because of who they facing.
I get it. I get it. Go ahead, Coach.
One of the things I like. Let's get this straight. Dawn Stanley has been my favorite female player since I was a kid.
Okay.
The dream team, well, you know, the women's dream team, you know, her, when she took the job at Temple, she always was the toughest female player that I ever seen. Just to me. Now, it might have been, you know, everybody might have liked Cynthia Cooper and everything else. Cheryl Street.
Yeah.
I was a Dawn Stanley when I was young because she just was a tough point guard. She ran the show. She didn't need none of the accolades and nothing, but when you really look at it, she was the show. She was the floor general. Everybody scored because she put them in position. And she's doing the same thing as a coach. We went through the, what's her name, Pat Summitt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We went through that era when Tennessee, the Lady Vols would get all the recruits and they would get all the great teams. Just think of the women that came from Tennessee. It was dominated.
It was her. It was Pat Summitt and Gino. That was that's
what I'm saying. We went through that era, and then we went through Gino era when Gino was the hottest thing on earth. Unbelievable records that he held undefeated season. Some of the ways them girls play. I mean, back when Rebecca Lobo and them was there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now we're going through this Dawn Stanley era.
I agree.
It is a beautiful thing to see because you go from, you know, and we talk about women basketball, we go from a typical American white woman as a coach, Pat Summitt. Then we go through, I don't know, Gino Italian or
yeah.
Think about the pecking order of America.
Right.
I'm going through the pecking order of America, right? You just see where I'm going at. And now we're going through an era where we're watching a woman dominate. I'm not just talking about coach. Dominate in a way where it's showing her entire characteristic of her game when they court through them girls. So when I watch South Carolina play, it's like reliving my childhood of watching Dawn Stanley and them play when we had the two dream teams, the men and the women. Everybody talk about the men team because it was unbelievable. But that women team was just as good on the women's side of basketball and everything else. So I do want to see Dawn win her another national championship. I want her to dominate this era and everything else. The only thing that I see is like sometimes teams need a lesson, and in a championship, it's a hard time to learn that lesson. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard. Man, I went through it at Dundalk High School, man. When we played Jake Funk and them in the state championship, it was just a hard time to learn a lesson. I didn't want to learn the lesson in the state championship. You should have taught me this shit in the regular season. I wanted to. You know, and then you get to the state championship and you learn a lesson it was on TV in front of everybody. And like my mama called me like, "You all right, baby?" Because she know I'm a sore loser. You know, I jumped on a plane early that next morning. I was in Miami, though, my feet in the toe, my toes in the sand. I was upset. You know what I'm saying? So, but now I see we got to get through game one of the Final Four. And if everybody holds serve the way we think it is, you know what I mean, and it brings you the LSU South Carolina game, that's what's going. That's going to be the interesting one for me. So.
Yeah. Which I agree with you, Stanley, because Coach Stanley, because you know, she was kind of quote the undersized young lady when she was playing, but her hustle, her tenacity. That's what everybody loved about her. She didn't talk much. She just played hard.
Hey, man.
Those were like Teresa Witherspoon, all of them was great, solid, young, African American women that really. I like watching women basketball because it's fundamentally sound.
I love it too. That's why I love it too.
I like the passes. I like the cuts. I like how you get in your set and you run your set.
That's basketball. It's basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So I love it. And as you were speaking, what I just now spoke about, say I'm kind of nervous. You made me feel confident about I don't have to feel that way anymore. What you said. Why? Is because of her history. Right. And going back on her history, she done faced 10 times more than these young ladies has faced. Right. So she could overcome so many different things because remember they got into the WNBA late. They wasn't making the dollars they made now.
Right. No.
So having to go overseas and not speak the language and have to make a living, they've done all of that. But mainly, I say that she need her flowers like every day, all day. Why? Because she left her hometown at Temple, went to a school in the South.
Right.
South Carolina wasn't heard of in basketball. And she built that. I'm like, well, how'd she get these recruits? That's a testament of how she communicates with young folks to get them right in. It's a testament how she turned the negative narrative. And I don't know if you guys recall, I didn't hear him do it, but I don't like UConn anymore. Like my daughter, that's her dream school. I'm like, you ain't going there as long as that guy there because
I heard it, Steve. I heard it.
He disrespected her. Like if that was my sister over there, I would have went to jail. I would have to I won't hit the man, but I would have went on the floor. Not only that, if you go back to the game, I don't know if you watched the coach. He threw a water bottle on the floor, slammed it.
Right.
No check, no nothing.
Right. I told you it's the pecking order of America.
But Steve, this what I want to say, Steve, real quick though, Steve.
Okay.
Listen, Steve. They smiling when they winning, can't handle adversity.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, that's the problem. He can't handle adversity. Don Guyton came on TV and was like, I'm tired of this. He wasn't saying this when he was beating us by 50. Take your lump like he did.
Great statement. Great sound.
Like he did. And then one thing Coach didn't say, Steve, is she's from Philadelphia, so she already trumped. She already trumped out.
She played there wasn't no girls playing in Philly. She had to play with boys all life.
And these girls, this is one of her best classes ever, right?
Right.
You got Bree Bill, Aliyah Boston, and I forgot the shooting guard. So all three of them have already been through the rigor. It's their fourth year.
Right.
And they lost their first year in the tournament. They lost in the Final Four. Right. She said because of that loss, these girls only want to win. They sacrificed their games and became a team. And she said because of that, Zia Cook. She said because of that, they don't want to lose. That's why they're undefeated this year. Adversity and all the stuff you think. And I hear you, Coach. But them girls have been through the fire. They get to that championship game, they're not gonna let down. I
already know. I already know.
And with Dawn coaching them, how she gonna she knows she gonna have them prepared and ready. And the problem is they wear people down because they only come at you with the first wave, then they come with the wave. Yep. And then by the second wave and the third wave came, you won out.
Right.
Yeah.
And LSU don't have depth like that.
Right.
So that point guard, if they run that point guard around, she get tired, they don't have no backup point.
Right.
So I want LSU to win, but Virginia Tech is a black coach, so it would be great to see two black coaches in the finals.
I haven't seen Virginia Tech play like this. When I watched them in the ACC tournament, then watched them through this tournament. I haven't watched Virginia Tech play this year to the ACC tournament, and that coach does a great job with putting them girls in the best position for their skill set.
Yeah.
They do not play out of position at all. They don't do nothing that they can't. They so fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they don't play out of. You don't see nobody trying to do things that they're not comfortable doing, and it's like they know who they are. So I like this matchup, but I feel bad for Tech because You know what I mean?
I think the key matchup coach is
like one of the best I've seen in the country this year. Tech point guard.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
she can move.
Right.
So it's gonna be a nice matchup.
She's from another country though. Then he would have recruited her from.
Okay.
She on another country. But she take bad shots though. So
Right.
that's gonna be the key to
I was
LSU.
gonna show the swell out. You're right.
Yeah, she take bad shots. So that pivotal matchup between her and the point guard for LSU is going to be crucial.
Right.
Yeah.
And LSU converting off her bad shots because she will take a shot in a minute. She a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're a gun like that, the other team that they played recently, they wasn't able to capitalize on her gunning.
Right.
So LSU got to get other scorers besides Angel and the point guard because if they don't get no other scorers, you can't outscore Virginia Tech with just 2 scores. So the other girls got to step up.
Right. Indiana lost way earlier than I expected them to.
That's that Miami team, man. That Miami team that had athletes.
Right. And Indiana, what's the one girl from Indiana from Israel, the shooter? Yeah, she got a little foul trouble or whatever, and then and they just couldn't fire back or whatever. I think didn't that game go in overtime or something?
Well, actually, you know what happened? Yeah, actually, what happened is the girl, she was a freshman, and I ain't never seen no cold freshman like this from a girl perspective. She hit the 3 and tied the game up. She showed no emotion.
Yep.
No emotion. I'm like, wow, that's unusual from a girl. No emotion.
Right.
He had another one at the top of the key, and they went into overtime. But it's like they got behind and could never get over the hump.
Right.
And then Miami had a big girl inside that was a beast.
Right.
And then had 2 tough black girls that was posting.
Right.
I'm like, wow, I ain't seen that in a while in women's basketball.
Well, that's why I love women's basketball, like Steve said. Like the reason I love women's basketball because it's basketball. I don't know what goes on in men's basketball anymore. I mean, I like it and I respect it, but it's not basketball anymore. It's who can hit the most threes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who can love it. And that's what you hear the announcers even saying, whoever hit the most threes today wins the game. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, even like when we used to watch basketball back in the day, when I coach a basketball team, I coach it off the philosophy that I learned, a lot of them that I learned from Coach Kane. Like if we can hit more free throws than the other team even shoot.
Yeah.
If we can hit more free throws than the other team even shoot, we'd never lose again.
And that's a good segue though, right? Because we jump over to the men's side, right? And that's the reason why Miami beat Texas. Because they shot more free throws in the second half and overcame a 13-point lead.
Right.
And overcame a 13-point lead without hitting any threes.
Right.
And it's hard to do that in men's basketball. But Texas got up 13, and in the first half, they didn't turn the ball over. In the second half, they stopped running their offense, turned the ball over, put it in a power forward hands. He turned the ball over, missed shots.
Yep.
And then Miami got their confidence up and started scoring. And that guard. So what really in college basketball, you need good guard play. If you got good guard play, and that's why you have FIU in the finals, in the Final Four, because good guard play.
Right.
And in the game against Kansas State tried to, when they was up 6, try to go up 12 in one play.
Right.
If you do that, bad shots, turnovers, you allow a Cinderella to stay in the game. And once they stay in the game, they get
Yep.
then it's a boulder on your back as the favorite.
Right.
And that boulder pulls you down and you lose the game.
Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson. You let him stay in the fight too long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to ask a question because you said the freshman hit the shot and she wasn't fazed by it. It's almost like a confidence level there. And I played basketball in high school, but I wasn't a student of the game. You know, I was a football player that played basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm going through this with my daughter now, and my wife being a former basketball player. She played NCAA twice against UConn, so they beat them, twice. So she played against Rebecca Rose and them, et cetera. But we having a dilemma, and Coach, you could probably speak on this. You probably help me out with this. And I just heard you say that you just went to the state championship and stuff like that. I have a big problem with AAU. But with Jay, what you said, I contribute that girl having pause maybe because she made it play and getting that type of national exposure. Or playing across the different, they travel a lot and they playing these big tournaments, etc., etc. However, I have a problem with it because the stability of it, it's a lot of chaos with it, and my kids suburban kids, you know, but they have very urban father, and how can I say this, and so you guys can help me out with it. AAU just seems like it's so chaotic, and it's just like you in this whirlwind of things. And it's been causing tension between my wife and I in the direction we need to go with my daughter. You know, playing or not playing. Like, she goes on Monday to be one of the top 16 players in the state. She have her state ranking, so she's top 25. But I think they're trying to move her up, so it's a big thing they're doing, or whatever the case may be. However, my wife feels as though she needs to play AAU. She has to do this and do that. But as a former coach, and you know, and we all coach. One thing we know is, like, we need organization, and mainly for parents. And we know we can't be a team, and we can't achieve our goal with chaos. And I'm in the state of Oklahoma right now. When we was back home in DMV, it wasn't that bad. But here it's so chaotic to the point where I'm thinking about sending my kids back home, because if you come here, it's talent everywhere. And I think they put an article out that they're talking about Oklahoma being a new woman home breed for female basketball players. But it's so chaotic. There's no organization here. And the last thing I would say, and to put this, all together, the state is like 10, 20 years behind. It's so slow. So what you guys feel about AAU? What advice would you give me? And I'm just open ears, because I think my young lady, my daughter can really play it on college level. I mean, mom played and all, but she also is an excellent volleyball player. So I'm like, okay, what should I do? But I'm only not speaking for my daughter, but I speak for a lot of other kids that I'm saying that it just saddens my heart, man. Because one thing as coaches, we love the game, but we more so love kids. And when you see a kid being disenfranchised because of parents and because of these different things, how do you, it's kind of sad, what the outcome is going to be, because you kind of know it, because you kind of been through it. So, I would like to do something here where I can start helping the kids, because they're very talented, they have great size, but it's just chaos. To the point where I don't even go to some of my daughter games because it's just chaos,
Right. Jay, I'll let you speak on that first. I'm gonna come from a whole different perspective.
You want me to speak on it first?
Yeah, you go, because I'm gonna come from a whole different perspective.
Okay, so Steve, I get you 100%, and I feel a certain way about AAU anyway, because I feel as though they elevate people that are really not invested in the game, and they give people these 5-star ratings that aren't that good. They get to college and they're nothing like they said. So AAU used to be good, but now I think it's just a celebrity type situation, and it's all about your name. Take for instance, LeBron James' son was a 4-star. He just got invited to McDonald's All-American game. Usually 4-stars don't get invited to that, but he was there because his father was LeBron James. So you think about the politics of the system, because it's turned into that. It's turned into a politics system, and I don't think, it'll be healthy for your daughter to continue in that, because, as you say, it'll turn to be chaos and things of that nature. The only way you can solve this situation, I wouldn't say send your daughter home, because then, you're taking your kid from an environment you already moved them, and you're sending them back to another different environment. So I wouldn't say do that. But what you want to have to do is take control of the situation and start your own program. If you start your own program, that way you make sure it's no chaos. And sometimes we got to take responsibility of the things that we want for our kids. So you remove your daughter from the chaos, you create a program, and I'm pretty sure you have resources because you've been a coach before. Create your own program, but you have the organization, and you can bring those other kids in, and then everybody will be successful. So you want to help everybody.
So on my end, I always been anti AAU. I never coached AAU. I live in Charlotte now, and it's funny because I'm trying to find a gym so I can coach girls basketball here in Charlotte. I got a passion. I coached boys basketball for years. I don't want to coach boys no more. I love it. I'm great at it. But my thing is, if I can teach the girls to do the same way, the same style of game that I teach boys, if I can coach them the same way, coach them as hard as I coach boys, I can win a state championship the first year.
Wow.
I'm really that good at it. You know what I mean? I'm not just blowing my own horn. I've always been a student of the game, and I've always been a coach on the floor. So transitioning into coaching was easy for me. And actually basketball is what I coached last. I actually got a chance to coach football first. And I got a high school job coaching basketball, right? JV team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have never coached basketball before. My first practice was my very first practice coaching. And everybody said, man, you coach like you didn't coach it before. All I doing was reteaching the way I was coached good when I got in college. Well, I had a great motivating coach in high school. I had a good high school coach, Woody Williams, in Mervo. And then I had one of the best motivators ever in Durr Wade.
Wow.
So I took that, and when I went to college, I got coached by Coach Robbins at Virginia Union University.
Okay.
Right? I was on the team with Ben Wallace. So we number one in the nation that year, right? When I was a freshman. So I got coached by Coach Robbins, but my best coach of all is when I went to Maryland Bible College and Seminary and got coached by Coach Jimmy Pierce.
Okay.
So he was the leading scorer, all-time leading scorer at Liberty University.
Right?
Wow. And so this guy was the first one that told me that I wasn't that good. And he broke me down to the point where he told me I couldn't shoot the ball. I wasn't really that good. And I was a scorer. I could jump out the gym. I could grab the rim with my teeth.
Wow.
It wasn't good. But when he broke me down, he showed me the mechanics of shooting. I became deadly. Now it took me a minute to keep that elbow in and the ball on the balls of my finger.
Fingertips, yeah.
It took me a minute to learn that. It changed my shot like crazy. I'm bringing my elbow all the way in, and it took me a minute. I missed a lot of shots in the beginning, but once I got it, I ain't missed 2 shots in a row. Never after that. I still can teach the mechanics of shooting because of what he did for me. I'm gonna say this about AAU and what your daughter's going through. I'm gonna make it make sense to you. When you go to the NFL Combine, right?
Right.
Make this make sense to you. You're gonna get your own answer from me to make it sense. When they're doing the bench press of 225 pounds, how many times you can rep that, right?
Right.
On a football field, what situation are you in when you are laying on your back pushing up 225 pounds? None. So do that even equality? Do that even elevate, or do that even say you can play football?
No.
When are you on the field running 40 yards straight?
Nah.
in underwear.
Right.
So does that really give you a good?
Unless you running track.
Right. That's what I'm saying on the football, but you ain't never doing that on Sundays in no underwear in your drawers.
Never.
Right. So does that give you an accurate 40 time of a person?
No.
When are you standing in one place and broad jumping as far as you can on the football field? When are you standing and tapping, as far as a vertical? None of these things, all this stuff come from slavery evaluations.
Wow.
Right? I seen a new drill this year where they made the boy lay with his feet straight out, sit on his butt, feet straight out, right? Legs straight out. And they had one person at his foot and another guy behind him, and they made him flip his legs over his head. Asshole, excuse me, and straight butt straight in the air. Because they're looking for flexibility in your back. When does this have to do with, I'm like, oh my God, I posted on my Facebook. I said, yo, what is this? So I'm saying all this to say this. AAU is the most unorganized form of basketball that we ever seen.
Wow.
All they do is roll a ball out on the floor and they tell y'all go play.
Yeah, no sets, no
Nothing.
calls.
Nothing.
It's just see
who can score who.
And see, that's why you say it's chaos. It's not chaos only before you get there. It's chaos when you get there.
Right.
So your daughter would never get any kind of structure from that. It's going to hurt her game, actually.
And most coaches bought into the narrative because every coach around the country is doing this. Even the structured coaches have bought into this bull crap because AAU now is only about money.
All the time.
Who can get NIL deals? Who's are the people that's even ranking these kids?
And then also Duncan, it's tennis shoe deals.
Right.
And that's why certain kids have tennis shoe deals and certain coaches can't recruit them because they're not an Adidas school or Nike.
Adidas school, right? Exactly.
It's all politics, man.
It's all money, man. All that thing is
money. Follow the money, you'll get your answer. So what I did was when I started my youth program, Team Holy Dirt, the only reason I started Team Holy Dirt football is because I had learned from Urban Meyer himself, spread option football. And I knew this was the new wave of football. And when I was the president of Lock Raven and I tried to teach it at Lock Raven, everybody came down on me because I wasn't in the power I formation, this, that, and other. I said, I'm trying to tell y'all the future of football is real. So you got to think about this. I'm going to run the coaching 18 years football, right? I'm going to run the spread option football for 15 of them years.
Wow.
So I won the state championships throwing the ball, using the quarterback in the read option, teaching it the right way, not the Lamar Jackson shit y'all see. Lamar Jackson runs it absolutely wrong. He know he gonna pull the ball before he even get the snap. It's a pre-call that's already in his headset that's telling him that he's not reading anything. I could tell. I know it so well. I could tell how the shoes line up if you're reading or not.
So Jalen Hurts ran it this year though.
Right. And so think about this. Think about this. And we're gonna talk about that too, Jeff. Think about this. AAU is gonna only, I hate to say this, make matters worse. What you're doing. Because she's gonna learn a level of undisciplined. And the thing is this, if she don't get with the program, so she's gonna have to adjust to their style. And then breaking that habit, coming back to regular high school, it's hard. It's hard. So it's
funny you say that, Coach, because I had her with this training guy, and he's a pretty good trainer. Steve's pretty good. He put some kids in college and stuff, a couple kids in pros. He say Steve, his name's Steve too. He say Steve, they always come back. They want me to come back. I teach them. They go to these high school coaches, and the high school coaches, I don't know what they're doing these days, and I try to come back and try to fix it because the scout is telling them it's not recruiting them. And they're not recruiting them because they go ahead and play this AAU, they go do this and mess, they don't have a game. Don't have a game. And you know how you feel something spiritually? You see it, but you feel it spiritually. And you try to make a statement. I mean, this has grown, arguments between my wife and I. Like, she ain't speaking to me, I ain't speaking to her because this AAU thing. And so she took her to this team, and the coaches just sit there like this. They just sitting there like this. The girls just playing, and they played against a Caucasian team. 5 passes, 6 passes, backdoor. They couldn't defend it. You know what I'm saying? Then they played the zone, but they brought the zone out like a college zone. They brought it above the 3-point line.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Girls, they 13, 14 years old. You know, they didn't have 12, 13. They didn't have a clue what they was doing. The coaches is like this. And I'm looking at my wife, and I'm like, you know better. So my wife's supposed to been coaching the team, but she don't understand how you don't get committed players at AAU. And you ain't nobody come to practice. They ain't gonna come to practice, I can't coach. I said, you know, all these years I coached 20-some years coach as well. Football though. I said, how many kids I have in my house every week? How many kids I have staying with us?
Right.
Coaching is a commitment of extended kids you have to rear.
Right.
You have to do so many different things. You have to bring them in your house. It's especially when you're not getting paid for it.
Right. It's a
From
village.
one corner of town to the other side of town,
Right.
I said, you've seen this, but now you, and I let her handle one, got one daughter, so the mom play, you handle your daughter. I handle my boys.
Right.
And it's so much chaos to the point where she getting frustrated by it, my daughter getting frustrated by it. And the thing is, she's such a good young lady. I don't want her to lose a gift because of, like I say, the chaos, you know, the things between my wife and I. But I kind of took myself out of it, and I just let the Holy Spirit speak. And it's,
No, don't
do it. Okay.
No.
Hey, Steve, what's going to happen is women can't handle a lot of confusion and dysfunction, right?
Okay.
So eventually she's going to come to you, and that's when you step
I
in.
was going to ask him that too, Jay. I was going to
Yeah,
ask him.
he ain't come to me. What you want to do? So it was a young man that's in Wichita, Kansas. She said, well, you don't have to come to practice, or we even come to practice down there. This team number 7 in the state in this AAU thing. Did you want to play AAU? Okay. Let's find somebody good coach. His dad is a Division II coach, family of coaches, really fundamental, watch some video. And maybe I'll send it to you guys. I don't know basketball like that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know it like that. I know the little boy, I used to coach the youth league, so I know that point of it. But if you tell me you have a play, I couldn't go a play. So I don't like to speak on things I'm not educated upon, because I don't want to ruin any young man or anybody's future who has a passion for it. You know, I know body mechanics. I can teach you that. I know spacing. I can teach you that. But like Coach, you said you could study a person and you won't be. I wish I had that in basketball, and you know, I kind of know it in football, but in basketball, I think it's yeah.
You got a quarter to beat me. Actually, pickup game is like a quarter. You got one quarter really to beat me.
So I look at things that way, right? I can watch a person, watch their tendencies, and I just I'm forced them to do something they don't want to do.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And,
So,
that's the key. That's the key. That's the key, Steve.
Let
In
me ask you this,
basketball,
though.
you force somebody to do something they're uncomfortable doing, and you got it. That's
Let me,
it.
Okay.
and to piggyback on that, let me ask you one question first, though, Steve.
Yeah.
What you going to do?
I've been trying to.
No, I don't want to know what you're trying. I want to know what you want.
I don't want to do. I guess if I knew that, I would have brought it up to you guys. I bet Jay last time on here, Jay was sharp on it, and I really respect him, and I respect you. KB knows some good dudes, man. I must say, it's like, you know, some great dudes. I'm like, dudes that I just want to talk to and just learn a lot from. But if you ask me that question, what I'm going to do, I feel stuck, Coach. I don't know.
Let me help you out. Help you out. What's everybody in that last name? In that house last name?
Willoughby.
You feel where I'm going at with this?
Yeah.
So what brand do they wear?
Willoughby.
Okay, so when they go out, they representing
Willoughby.
Okay.
Right? So one thing you said you're gonna let the Holy Spirit take over. We're gonna cut that right now, because I'm gonna tell you what it really is. Right?
Okay.
We're gonna cut that. Not disrespecting nobody, religion, anything else. I'm gonna tell you what this is. what was your first thought? Your very first thought about this situation with AAU and your daughter? What was your very first thought?
Unorganized. Ever since I was younger,
Right.
it's always been unorganized to me.
Right. So what did you want to do? What was your very first thought of what you wanted to do with your daughter?
Take her to college camps, because I did that with my son.
There go
I
your-
was saying, yeah, take it to
there go
college.
your- there goes your answer. Always go with your first thought. Now let's go back into this Holy Spirit that you were talking about. Right?
Yeah,
So always go with your first thought. First thought. Remember, first thought is your soul leading you in all truth.
okay,
So what happens is when you start thinking about stuff, we start second guessing it because now we're in our own thoughts.
okay. Got
First
it.
thought is always the right thought. The world call it instinct, right? The
Right.
Bible call it the Holy Spirit.
Okay,
The people call it, people that they say they won't call it the universe. Whatever you want to call it. Some people call it God. Some people call it Jesus. Whatever you want to call it, it's how your soul communicates with you.
okay,
And your soul always will lead you in the right direction the first time. Think about anything you ever did. The first thought was always, you're like, damn, I knew I shouldn't have did that. Because you second
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's a life lesson right there. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, you're already programmed to think a certain way, right? Because you are a product of your household, and you already know how you run your household, Steve. So at the end of the day, she's a product of you and the way your household is built. No matter what the situation is, if we were all born by different parents, we'd be different people, right?
Yeah.
But because of the household you put in place, she's a product of you. And when I say that women can't handle chaos and confusion, it's a true statement. And eventually she would have came back to you, but you don't want it to go that long. So you just you got to take control of the situation, send it to the college coaches and put it on the same regimen that you did with your sons, because you were successful with that. And all you
Yeah.
got to have a conversation with your wife and like, listen, this is the progress that our sons did. It worked fine. That's what our daughter did, the same process, and it's going to work fine. We can get back to what we was and stop. Because what you don't understand is separation creates dysfunction and confusion. So
Right.
because y'all not on the same page, it's creating a situation. Now, once you bring that to her, let's get back on the same page. It's be better for our daughter, and then she'll kind of meet you halfway, and then you take control.
Well, one good thing about it was that, well, I won't say a good thing about it. So my daughter was with the trainer. He's trying to put together a team with the kids he trained to see if the skill could come from the practice court transition into, a game where he can critique, record, and see the things they've been working on. So my daughter wanted to go, her mom wanted to take her play for another team. And I said, if you're going to do that, I said, you need to call coach and let him know what you're going to do. Here's a man that will open up the gym 1 o'clock in the morning for us to go work out, do whatever to work with my daughter. And I said, he wants you to not to go here yet. He wants you to he want to kind of guide you the right way. And I respect him to do that in basketball.
Right.
And so he didn't do that. She didn't do that. She didn't tell that man, whatever. So I told her, if you don't do this, it's going to create chaos. It's going to create something you don't want to be a part of. And it did. The guy called because there was a couple of little girls that went and played somewhere else. And he's like, all right, I'm not doing this. You guys want to go ahead, you want to get in this AAU, you want to celebrate, and you guys not ready yet. And that team she went to go play for, like I said, coaches like this, they're out there uncharacteristic. And he was actually at the game looking at it. And when I found out he was there, I went and talked to him. I was like, look, this is not on me.
Right.
I said, I don't respect my daughter over there playing because look at her now.
Right.
So he came out with a text message the next day. Like, no, if you guys want to do this, my gym is close to you guys. I'm just going to work with these set of girls, et cetera, et cetera. So when my daughter found out on, this happened Sunday night, so her mom showed her the text message on Monday. I said, what'd I tell you? I said, if you make any move, have the integrity and have the respect to tell somebody what you're going to do. You know, I say one thing I do, and I'm very proudful. I had a proudful father. I had a great father. He told me about respect, and he told me about, you know, when you earn it, you got to earn it, you got to give it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, I'm really disappointed because you could have just, I don't give you a text now. I prefer you to call or whatever to say, hey, coach, I want to do this and this. I have your blessing, or you think whatever, because he really got my daughter right. So, my wife, long story short, my wife met with him, and my wife had some problems, and I talked to him, and she didn't understand. So we all sat down and had lunch.
Right.
And I said, you have something to say to this man. So she explained where it was I thought I told you X, Y, Z. I said that a pickup is not an official AAU game. You know what I'm saying? So we went through that, we talked it out. And, you know, he told my wife, he's like, you having the background you have and the experience you have, I wouldn't, you know, it kind of hurt me that you did what you did and you're doing what you got to do.
Right.
You know, and he really expressed himself. He said, well, I looked upon you play college ball, you travel the world playing this. I expect for you to come out here and be the role model for these young ladies and not getting caught up with these parents who don't know. You know better. But something you say, Jay, sometimes we at our weakest points when the confusion aspect of it. So the confusion aspect of it, and Coach, you say, they can't think right. I'm a quiet guy, you know, so I'm an introvert, so I study a lot of people. You know, I love being who I am. And so, you know, once again, went back, MS, now we back. So I was like, Missy, I told my wife, we call her Missy, I like, look, you have to give back in life. You got to do something. You have a gift that paid your college, it paid for your college to do some things. The sacrifices you have to make to do something and for the betterment of our daughter, you have to do it. I did it for our sons. You know what I'm saying? My son got a free ride, you know. He projected going 3rd round. You know, if he have a good year, he can move up this year. He played for Oklahoma State, Coach.
Okay.
So I say everything we did with him, the blueprint is there. Why are you not following? I say whatever's in your mind is telling you not to respect it. You don't have to respect me, but respect the process you're not doing. And our baby over here, she's just miserable. But, you know, my daughter's starting to come around now because I'm trying to teach her shot put and stuff. She ain't doing it. Well, Daddy, I did it and I did this. So I'm like, why I had to win I say, why I tell you things you don't listen? I like, kids is different these days, man. There's just so much chaos. You know, yes, women have power that, not to say they didn't have it back in the day, but it's a lot of different dynamics in life. And to wrap it, and I don't want to talk you guys to death, but to wrap it all up, you know, it's affecting sports.
Thanks, Drew.
Well, we used to be dominating in the Olympics. We can now tell kick now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just upset that, you know, there's no respect anymore, and everything is so chaotic. And like you guys say, it's money. It's a lot of different things, and for the most part, I'm an old school coach. I love my kids. But I believe in teaching a certain way and executing a certain way. And we are, as Americans, we going more and more overseas to get players.
Right.
It's because they don't have coaches like you, Coach, you, Jay, myself, that they want to disrespect us. They don't, I mean, we didn't have that in our coaches. Our coaches will ring our butt. We try to disrespect them any type of way. When we try to teach them, we love them, and we spend our money to make them better. It's just. So
you know what you're really dealing with, though, Steve. Not to cut you off.
No, I'm done.
What we dealing with is it's a couple things. So, one, this transfer portal has really, really, really hot-wired sports.
Woo.
In such a way that the parents are being affected. And so when you say this about your wife, This is the only thing I can hear, like, because of this transfer portal, it's making, you got to remember this. And I told people this was going to happen. The transfer portal, whatever happens in college sports, is going to affect high school. It got to, because that's the next level up. So high school's got to start doing, when colleges start changing offenses, high school had to start changing offenses because you're going to play in that level next. So you got to learn it at this level. And so when the transfer portal started, it started happening in high school. And you see it more and more in high school now. Kids jumping. And so when you jump like that, you're not creating no stability at all. You're not creating no type of chemistry, because people got to understand this. Talent doesn't win championships. Chemistry does.
Yeah.
Talent never won. I have stepped on a court with a bunch of guys. We had walked in gyms and watched in college, and been watching the guys warm up as we walking in the gym. And we like, oh yeah, we're gonna dust their ass tonight, boy. We're gonna, oh yeah, we're gonna try to fire for them tonight. But when you get to playing and you see the fundamental base and the chemistry that this team, the team that you play, you got to work for this one. They setting solid screens. They love playing for each other and everything else. So we got to get, I got you, KB. And so we got to get to the point where that we actually get back to the root of it all. You're looking at the transfer portal kid. You're looking at this social media kid now, where social media is blowing up everybody, 5-star, 3-star, or everybody getting offers and everything else. And every kid want to be that kid. They want the attention. And so one thing I made a comment about earlier was this. They said, Mikey Williams or Bronny James. Which one would you pick? Mikey Williams or Bronny James? I said Bronny James. Everybody like Mikey Williams is a better basketball player right now. I love late bloomers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bronny is blooming late. He's a late bloomer. He's blooming late, but you can see the fundamental set, that skill set that's there. Bronny is going to be a great player. He's going to be a great player because and I love late bloomers, because if you bloom early, guess what happened to a flower when it bloom early?
Yeah.
Petals fall right off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flower that bloom late, beautiful.
And Steve, I used to be an extrovert as well, right? You would never know this. You would never know this though, because what I realized was communication was the key to life. So I transformed myself into a communicator and a person that can talk to anybody about anything at any moment. So I transferred myself because I saw the power of communication. But getting back to what you were saying about, see, your daughter is around people that play AAU, so she's going to want to play AAU. All her friends are playing.
Right.
So because you have that, that's going to be the pull for your daughter. But what she don't realize is being an individual separates us from the crowd and gives her more opportunity to grow.
Right.
And see, most kids that are that young don't understand individuality is the key, opposed to being in the group. Because if you follow the group, if the group jump in the pool, you're gonna fall in the pool.
Right.
If you're an individual, you see the group going over there, you're gonna look in the pool first before you jump in there.
I don't.
So the individuality of people that kids don't understand. If I look out the window, I used to tell my son all the time, if I look out the window and I can't identify you, you blend in with the crowd. I should be able to look out the window and identify you because you are an individual.
Right.
Separate entity, and you're not like everybody else.
Right.
So if you break that down to her and understand that she knows, hey, if I separate myself, I'm going to grow more, opposed to just following the crowd.
Right.
Right. I think it's. I totally agree with you guys. That's how I feel. One thing Coach said, you need to find a gym in Charlotte. I have some folks down there. I see I can assist you with that. Okay. Because the one thing we need to do is, overseas they have academies, right? And these kids they go to school all day. It's just a different beast. And in all the other countries, we the only country that's so individuality here. Or I don't disagree with, I don't like that you did that. I'm going to start my own organization. Right. And one thing it's about is it's like we got to win our kids back, and we got to win them back structurally and sound. One of my favorite movies, I think I said this last show, Jay, I'm not sure, but I love the movie Hoop Dreams. Mm-hmm. Hoop Dreams is the best movie to watch if you're an athlete. You got these two young men, you know, not everybody, what is it? You all relate no matter what your living condition is or where you at. You got these two men that's known they're going to NBA, they're going to go D1, all this and this and that. And the obstacles they had to face embarking on this, on their quest and their dream, it was so many hurdles and barriers they had to face and constantly, and they never really reached their ultimate dream, you know, their ultimate goal. And that's what life, no matter where you live, you know, it's less than 1% that make it to these professional sports and things like that.
Right.
I mean, I agree with you guys, like the star rating is the most ridiculous thing ever. You know, these things I experienced, you know, with my kids and stuff like that, like, well, they said I'm a 3-star. Why? Because I'm 6'1" and 3/4 and not 6'2". It's what? It's the craziest of the measurables and this and this and that. And coach, I always, what you said about the combine, I really feel as though we need to have a town hall with parents and we could form a town hall. And it ain't to bash any organizations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We need to have a town hall for these open discussions about what we're discussing now.
Right.
We have the parents first, and then we bring in the kids. You know what I'm saying? Then we bring them all together.
Right. Because
we need in America right now, we need to have a reality check.
We do. America's in a bad place right now.
Yeah, we need to have a reality check. It's just nonsense. Like, we dying, we killing each other, we doing things. I ain't trying to be no Donald McKean or anything, but I'm just talking about food. Everyday common sense.
Right.
You know,
you said it wrong. There's no such thing as common sense.
It's not.
It's not. Everybody would have it because it's common.
Yeah,
right.
We call it rare sense.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, Steve, you made a good point. But see, the problem is what's common to you might not be common to the next person.
Right.
So that's why you can never.
And that's why I say the town hall, because I want to know why.
Yeah.
Why? I'm coming to figure. I came to realization and think this, right? And I hate to think this. Everybody is right. Nobody is wrong in life. And the reason why I say everybody is right is because everybody is their own person.
You're about to get the glow, Steve.
True.
Yeah. Everybody's their own person. I can't tell you right if you choose to live your life like that. I can't say, oh, you're right. You're right. You're right because you're your own individuality.
About to get the glow.
Is your right? Is your right? Is your right? It's going to pave the way for you not to be stressed.
There's no such thing as right and wrong, Steve.
It's no more. It's no more.
Right. Hold up, though, Jay. We gotta talk about this Lamar stuff before.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I got off topic like I did.
Hey, this was good, man, because we need to talk about this AAU stuff and stuff that's affecting people's household, man. This AAU, it's driving wedges between people.
Anytime you on here with me, you know, I'm all about unity and fixing things. So I'm always about somebody else. I can keep it related if I choose to.
Right.
When I see brothers talking about things that are interesting, I'm going to take it up a notch. And that's what I do.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You should have heard the conversation before.
Yeah, before you got on. It was really like understanding that coach is where I'm at mentally with some things that we didn't even know we were. We're going to have a conversation off of this. Definitely, Steve. Definitely put your information in the chat so I can have it. Right?
Okay.
You is too.
I didn't know the chat go to everybody or just us.
It's just us. It's just
okay. I got it.
Private chat. So anything that we're talking about in there is us. So put it in there.
I seen so many people comments come across. Okay,
that's KB. That's KB putting it over there. That's coming from Facebook. But our private chat is if you see the private chat right there, that's all us. Nobody can see that.
Shout out to Miss Drew for thanking me. I had to tomorrow. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna keep on smiling for you.
But we got on Lamar. What's the? I'm interested in hearing this.
Okay. You want to start a coach? You want me to start?
You go ahead and start it, because I'm gonna tap in on it.
Okay, so, you know, I always said that I didn't understand why this young man was the MVP. He had no commercials. And that's one thing, right? I always said that because your kicker has more commercials than you. But that's just my thought process of being in a successful situation and being the MVP, not of university, of the total NFL, which is if you're the MVP, I've never seen a person be an MVP and then getting showered with endorsements and all those things. Maybe he didn't want them. But it doesn't make any sense for me because your family could be financially secure with those endorsements. Easy. Right. Now we get to a situation where the Ravens never pay their players, right? Quarterbacks in general, they never do it.
They play Flacco. They play Flacco,
but he had to earn it though. He had to bet on himself first. And then when he won a Super Bowl, they paid him. They didn't pay him when he was supposed to. They should have paid Lamar Jackson when he won the MVP. When the market was down, you should have gave him the money and you would be in the situation. Right. But you chose to, play the roulette wheel like you always do. When you play that, is most times you're gonna lose.
Right.
Then you got the whole NFL going against him because they don't want him to get a contract without an agent, because then all the agents get removed out of the situation.
That's the problem.
They're going black on that situation. And then you got this guy, Jim Irsay, coming out and saying, hey, I don't want quarterbacks to get guaranteed contracts. Even though, if you go through history and you see, after Kirk Cousins came from the Redskins, when they was the Redskins, Minnesota gave him a guaranteed contract. The first person to get a guaranteed contract in the NFL. But nobody want to talk about that.
No.
Now you get Jim Irsay coming out and saying he don't think that quarterbacks get guaranteed contracts. And this is the same guy that got caught with cocaine and then hired Jeff Sher today right off ESPN. So why do we want to listen to what you got to say, buddy? It don't make any sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just want to lead it in. I'll let you guys talk about it, but that's all I had to say about it for right now. I have a lot to say, but I want to let y'all talk.
Me personally,
I got one thing to say, Coach. It's short. I heard today that there's what you were saying, Jay. It was talking about Lamar, a reason why they want to guarantee his money, give him the money. And one thing they said is that they do have bad sleeping habits. When I heard that, I turned the station.
They say, yeah, what?
Bad sleeping habits as one of the reasons. This on national radio, ESPN. First take, ESPN.
Did somebody say his room open when they on the road to know he got bad sleeping habits?
So ESPN, I think it was what's the dude? The dude be on ESPN. The white quarterback never really played.
The one that ran out the back of the end zone.
Yeah. Well, what it is, he has bad sleeping habits. He doesn't does this and that, and this is all the reasons why they don't want to give him the money. Once I heard that, I'm like, man, I'm done. But go ahead, Coach.
Okay. Every year, we sit in front of the TV. Well, I say we, because I don't do it no more. We sit in front of the TV and we listen to experts at the NFL draft absolutely get it wrong.
Every time.
Every year.
Mel Kiper.
As long as I've been understanding football in the draft, we have watched them get it wrong every year, every single year, and we still listening to these motherfuckers.
Mel Kiper,
right?
The
ones that say this person should fall here in the draft, this person should fall there in the draft, they're going to be able to help the team this way because you actually testing people in their underwear.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, remember when Mel Kiper said he rated Blaine Gabbert higher than Cam Newton?
Right. Right. Absolutely get it wrong. Let me say that first, because you actually are rating people in their underwear, and not only that, you can't get stiff numbers making them do things that ain't got nothing to do with football.
That's not normal.
Even when you got a quarterback out there throwing to a receiver, everybody know your catch radius over top of your head with no shoulder pads on, and shoulder pads on, your catch radius ain't like that over top of you.
It's
The
impossible.
shoulder pads in your helmet is blocking it. You're not getting accurate reading. So we watch y'all every year get it wrong. So I don't listen to y'all no more. Here's the problem. They got it wrong with Lamar. So what Jay was saying, why you don't have no endorsements? Because what you're looking at is a football player. He's not a businessman. Like everybody else came in for business. Lamar just want to play football.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's
Yeah.
the player that you want to pay, is the one that want to just play football.
Yeah.
Young boys from Florida are different when it comes to football.
Agreed.
The Chad Ochocinco's, I know y'all don't like AB, but them boys different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They train different. They go in the forest and chase whitetail rabbits. That's
With no
how they
shoes on. With no shoes
Yeah.
on.
right with no shoes on. That's how they get the speed. I watched the whole ESPN joint about
I saw it. I saw it.
They go out in the
No
field.
shoes on. They're catching them. With no
Some
shoes
rabbits.
on.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out in the field. I'm gonna put a string on the end of a truck, and I'm just gonna drive crazy. I need y'all to face it. You know what I mean? These boys cutting with no shoes on and everything else. I'm too tender-footed to be going out there barefoot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the problem is this. When we look at the NFL is the biggest spotlight of what we could say the natural slave trade was.
Mm.
Listen to the words that they use.
Agreed.
Draft, trade,
Agreed.
franchise. That means you gonna come in the house, you in the house. Ain't nobody take you from me, nigga. So what happens is agents have became, if you understand real estate, wholesalers.
Facts.
That's all agents have become. Listen to me, Steve, real stuff.
Mhm.
If I'm selling a house, I really don't need a realtor.
At
Yeah.
all.
But the way America has created the rules is I need a realtor
To negotiate.
to negotiate so they can get a percentage. But I can sell my own house. Everything about my house is trustworthy. But I need a realtor, middleman, agent, especially if I was selling a house to a family member. I really don't need an agent.
Yeah.
Well, Lamar is trying to get the family member to buy his house. He already played for you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I know y'all, do I really need an agent? No. What happens is that most of these agents are friends of the owners and people in front office.
Yeah.
There are a lot of their son-in-laws, a lot of their sons. They can't own a team, so let me show you how to get money from black people. You go to school and become an agent.
That's the plan.
This is why the NBA had a problem with LeBron James
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
he sent Drew to school.
Rich
Yeah.
Paul. Yeah, Rich Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, when he sent them to school to do, that's why they had a problem with LeBron, because they didn't want to see his boys get paid, because now it's gonna make everybody with money send their friends back to college or can send them back to school so they can come become an agent. If Lamar gets a deal, I'm gonna tell you what Dion could have did for HBCUs. We talked about it. Lamar is at the same point that Dion was with HBCUs. Dion could have freed the HBCUs, but Colorado came and distracted him.
I mean,
Wow.
that's a true statement. It's a true statement. It's a true statement.
If Lamar gets a guaranteed contract being a black quarterback,
That's gonna mess the whole market up.
dual threat quarterback, just imagine how many people going to drop their agent like after that.
All of them. That's why they said no offers.
Right.
All the agents are in their house shivering.
Right. Let me
Because
tell you why it was no offers.
That 3 to 5%, the 7% they're getting will come
Let
to us.
me tell you why it's no offers, right? because of the simple fact. And I know this from being a head coach in the pros. So I'd seen it from a whole different light. Let me tell you why it was no office. Owners of teams want to keep their order of their plantation.
Indeed. So they all talk. Don't give them no offer.
Do we really think that Colin Kaepernick wasn't good enough to play in the NFL after the situation with him taking the knee and everything? Even at the 1 year out, he was still good enough to play in the NFL. 2 years out. But everybody, they got us to eat the narrative that he wasn't that good. He just took San Francisco on a run 2 years in a row.
But you know, Duncan, that's what they're going to do, man. They want control.
Right.
It's
They
all about
want to.
control.
So think about this. Why did no owners offer Colin Kaepernick a contract?
Because they had a conversation and said, don't do it.
Right. The owners got to stick together because it's just like this. Me and you, all three of us right here, owning a team, right? And I say to Steve, and I say to Jay and KB, listen to me. If we get this boy a guaranteed contract, right? He get a guaranteed contract without an agent. All our players at every goddamn team is going to drop their agent. We're going to have chaos here. We ain't going to be able to control our money. We're going to lose a lot of money. It's going to be chaos. So none of y'all, this is a conversation we having in the background. I don't need none of y'all to offer him no contract. Because if y'all offer him contract, I know he's a great thing. I know he can change your thing. I know he can put y'all in Super Bowl as a contender. But if we don't, I'd rather sacrifice one player, like we did with Colin Kaepernick, y'all, than lose our whole plantations.
Yeah.
But see, that's the mentality. But you know what?
Yeah, but we don't.
Yeah, but see, that's the mentality of the whole world.
Right.
They know collectively we will never agree on anything, so they continue to put the systematic failure in place. And if you really think about it, like we were talking about earlier, you have the IRS that was created. This land was put in place to be a free land.
Right.
We wasn't supposed to be taxed, but they created a situation. And if you think about the IRS, they don't sell any goods. They don't do anything but take from us. So they know that if all of us said, fuck you, I'm not paying taxes, was you gonna put a lien on the whole world?
You can't.
Possible. But they know they would dissolve, but they know we will never agree, so they continue.
Right. Right.
Because if you think about it, what are you charging me interest on anything if it's taxes and you don't have any goods or anything? It's a system put in place that functions on debt. If they can keep you in debt, and they do it at an early age with student loans, and they come to colleges with these credit card companies when they know you can't pay them, they're all in cahoots, and they create debt from that point, and then you in a trap, and they continue it over and over again. Because if you ask yourself, why are they bringing credit card companies or businesses on a campus when these kids are in school, they don't work, and they approve you, and then you trapped, and then you get out of school, you can't get a job, even though you paid for 4 years of college, and then when that student loan hit, you got to pay that. Right. Then you get a minimum job, even though they told you school was your salvation. Go to school, get an education, and you will earn. Because we go back to the Social Security card and your birth certificate. When they sign that over, they sign you off to be a worker, not an owner.
Right.
And when you don't know that, that's what you become. You become a worker.
Right.
And
you become a slave.
Yeah, you become a slave. And when you do that, because we're not knowledgeable as people and we don't seek information and we don't get it, that's what you do to your family. So if we have an awakening and understand that and abide against all this corruption in the world, we can start to solve some of these issues. Right. But they know how in the world they can't even sit in the room and agree on one thing. How they gonna come collectively and dissolve us? Because if we did, they shaking in their boots. So right. they hear anybody talking about this, they try to dissolve them, get them out of the way. Because right. They know if some people start to get that narrative and people start to move in a certain direction, it will cause the corruption to stop.
Right.
But when you put a system in place to slow down people, what kind of person are you? Right? Yeah. You're a demonic person, you're an evil person to try to put a label on a black person, right? We're not evil people. When you look through history, the most outrageous crimes been made by white people. So why aren't they seen as the people we should be scared of? We don't bother people. We just want to stay in our lane. We want fairness, and they want to keep us suppressed and keep us out of the way because they know that as a black man, we're put in the world to lead. So they keep us suppressed and give our black women 6-figure salaries so they can look down on us so we can't get up to the top. And if we don't have the mental capacity to get past that, you'll find yourself destroyed.
Right. Right. So, basic point is this.
Sorry about that, fellas.
No, you're fine. I believe
that's awesome.
They have actually really convinced us to believe that Lamar is not worth the money he's asking for.
He is.
He's more than worth that. Actually, he's asking for way too. His jersey is probably the most sold jersey in Baltimore.
Yeah,
it is.
He's the only reason people come to the game.
Facts.
When he wasn't playing, I looked at the stadium, it wasn't the same. So the thing is, what they're trying to do is get him submit and fall back in line. Just like they used to do us. Fall back in line, Negro. No, nobody wants you but us. It's not true. It's not true. What I would do if I was Lamar, let me tell you the best thing to do if you was Lamar. Because they don't want to give you a long-term deal. Take short-term deals. Give me a $50 million deal, all 100% guaranteed 1 year. Give me another $50 million, so I got 2 years guaranteed. I want a 3-year deal, $150 million, $50 million guaranteed first 2 years. After the second season, I want my other 50 to be guaranteed as soon as the second season is over. I survived your 2 seasons. My third season, my 50 should be. So now I done made 150 in 3 years.
It's still in my prime. It's still in my prime.
Exactly. Now I can go out and get another contract for somebody.
Right? Go out here, rob them blind like Kirk Cousins doing.
Exactly.
Kirk Cousins robbed them blind. Franchise tag, guaranteed deal from Minnesota.
Right. Put some clause in there, put some incentives in there, this, that, and the other. Give me my 100 up front. Let me go ahead, get my 2 years guaranteed. If I finish your second year, my third year becomes guaranteed.
What about?
We'll talk after that.
What about, Coach? What if he take 3 years? 3 years, say 110 million over 3 years, with a $50 million sign-up bonus.
Well,
get his money up front.
You said a 50 billion or 50 million?
Million. 50 million sign-up bonus up front. Get your 50 million up front.
Right. Well, I mean, even when you do,
and you have 33 million over the next 3 years.
Right. Even when you do the 100, when you do the 100 guarantee for the first 2 years, right? 50 guarantee for each year. You basically getting 100 up front.
Yeah, you are, but like for instance, y'all know Orlando Brown, right?
Right.
Yeah. Used to play for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
And like him and his I know the family. Matter of fact, his brother about to move out here next week. We about to do some business stuff together. So I was telling him, like, hey, Justin, tell, because he wanted to be the highest paid tackle. Now, Kansas City offered him the $30 million a year. I think it was like 5 years, 125 million, but he thought he can get more. Mm-hmm. So same thing they did with Lamar, they started doing with Orlando. So I say, Justin, just tell your brother, sign a lower deal, sign a 3-year deal, like you said, Coach. I think he signed a 3 year, 60,000, but get the sign-up bonus up front. In 2 years, like you just said, Coach, because you're smart, you must know this business. After 2 years, he get the next contract. He's just 26 years old.
Yeah, you
So,
and your brother. You
When
and
they
your
make money,
Right.
and he got what, $30-something million, $31 million, and he paid a franchise tag last year.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you could come out of here at $500 million over your career.
Right.
You know, so it's ways like you say, Coach. I would tell him because him and Lamar hang out.
Right.
So what you just said, I'm gonna call Josh like, hey, tell Lamar to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And go from there.
I'm gonna tell you, and just put some clause on. So that's what I'm a quarterback coach. I'm probably one of the best quarterback coaches on the East Coast for black quarterbacks, and so I understand. Like I told you, from being on the administrative front office owner side, I understand how to max your money is getting shorter deals. See, what happens is, I'm gonna tell you why men want long deals. Let me tell you why men want long deals, right? Because we don't even like keeping our underwear too long. Let me tell you why. What's the one reason? Jay probably could tell you this. Why do men want long contracts?
The problem is, man, is that in the football culture, right? They spend, and don't save. And that's one of the reasons why when they said they wanted to strike, these guys were getting payday loans and stuff like that because they spend like they rock stars.
Right.
And none of this stuff is guaranteed. You can't spend like a basketball player, a baseball player, or a hockey player because
that's a different type of money.
Because all their money is guaranteed no matter what they do. They can
Different type of money.
Their toe and don't play, and they still got So it's a different culture. So that's why they want guaranteed contracts. But the smart money is short contracts because the market is always changing. If you get a short contract, it's going up.
Like 3 years negotiation deal.
And the TV money about to hit, and the cap grade explode. So you get the short-term deal, they get a part of that TV money, and your deal gonna be even more.
You locked into a deal.
That's why Patrick Mahomes' contract looks great now. It didn't at first. That's why you should have signed Lamar when he said the MVP, because whatever you paid him, the market would have outpriced him anyway.
Right, you would probably been paying less right now if you would have signed him then.
And what the Ravens don't want to do is allow Burrow to sign before Lamar signs, because the market is going to explode and he's not going to want to accept it.
Right.
And they're also talking about Justin Herbert. You don't want to get those paid. That's why Philly is great jump in and pay Hurts right now.
Yeah, they did that yesterday.
Before it explodes.
Right.
Because that's what you get ahead of them. You get ahead of the explosion.
Right. So here's the thing, right? Most men, just in my opinion, I'm dealing with these pro athletes. Most men want long contracts because of their wife, or women that talk them into getting a longer contract. They want security.
Well, I wanted to say security, but I didn't know you was gonna go for that angle.
We don't care about security.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't care about no security. It's only one person in our ear. It's a woman telling us we need security. It's your mother telling you need a job with benefits. So you'll take less money because this company giving you benefits. And how often do we even go to the doctor?
Facts.
No, give me my money.
Yeah, I didn't know that players pay performance tax in every state they play in.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're an NBA ref, if you're a player and you go to state and you work, it's a performance tax. I didn't know they had to pay taxes on that.
Because it's based off of the places you playing in. So you got to go by their rules.
By their taxes, yep.
That's
who's writing you the check. Yeah. Their LLC or their S corporation is in that state.
Wow.
So that's why these guys need really financial people, because their stuff will be all jacked up and they owe so much money because you're going through all these different states where their state rules are different. You go to New York, they got all these different taxes in New York.
Right.
You go to Texas, they don't have state tax, so it's different.
Right.
You go to all these other states when you're playing at. That's why a lot of people, like players, when they in Texas, it's great because they ain't got to pay no state tax.
Think about most people that play in Texas stay there.
Yeah, you in California, you getting hit over the head. You in New York, you getting hit over the head. They smashing you.
Right.
You know, that's why people love Texas. Yeah, Dallas, Houston,
San Antonio,
Florida, no state tax.
They staying there.
So you get all your money.
Right.
In LA, you paying them with high taxes, you paying for these high prices houses, they taking most of your money from you.
Right. New York too.
Yeah, New York is ridiculous. All these high places.
Right. So you gotta go. So the other thing is this, same thing that Jay said, right? Do y'all remember the reason for the last lockout, NFL lockout? Y'all remember?
No, I don't remember.
You remember? So the reason for the last NFL lockout was this. The commissioner, what's the commissioner name?
Terrible.
The commissioner, NFL.
Yeah,
Roger.
You talking about before him, because I don't think they had a lockout because they forced it in and then they really locked themselves out.
Right. So what happened was they had negotiated a new network. Yeah, no, they negotiated a new network deal, and it paid like $2.3 billion, right? And what happened was,
I remember that. Now I remember.
Decided that this was only going to be split up between 31 people, which was the 31 teams.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I do remember.
The players said, "Oh no, bro, we the ones that's out on the field.
Right?
They watching us. We just help y'all negotiate a new deal, and y'all ain't gonna break a piece of the pie off of us." The owner said, "No, this for us. We own this. Is gonna get split up 31 ways. That's it." And the player said, "We not playing that." In 2 weeks, actually can negotiate a deal where it takes our salary up. That's where the bargain agreement and all that came in, right? So remember the rules back then during the lockout. I paid attention to this real well. Remember the rules. The owners, administrator, and coaches, all the position coaches, could not even answer the phone for players. If they did, they was in violation.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
They was in violation.
So the thing is, they pin the players against ownership, front office, and coaching staff. Even if you was a position coach and I was a wide receiver and you my position coach, and I wanted to call you about some routes and this, that, and other, you can't answer your phone for me. If you answer your phone, you was in violation, you will lose your job.
Man.
Because the slave owners could not talk to the slaves at this time until we came with an agreement, because we don't want to split the money with them.
Wow.
This is what you're looking at in the NFL. And we all want, they have got people to drink the juice to say these players that run their head into each other every week don't deserve the money that they asking for.
Yeah, I'm confused by one of the most dangerous sports. And how can the NFLPA not negotiate guaranteed contracts?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm confused by that when every other sport, and all you got to do is say baseball has it, hockey has it, basketball has it. Why don't we have it? And we out here killing ourselves. And it just don't make sense. They worried about whether they can smoke weed or something. Like what?
That's what they took the weed deal instead of
weed deal.
What? We not talking about guaranteed money. Everybody in here don't smoke weed.
They worried about smoking weed instead of their safety.
Right.
It makes no sense.
I'm gonna tell you what I want to tell you what I would have did if I was Tim Tebow. I'm gonna tell you what. No, let's go a little step further. Let me tell you what I would have did if I was Michael Vick.
Okay.
Let's go a little step further. This one should be on Lamar Jackson's mind. If you really want money, let me tell you what should be on your mind. If they don't want to give you the money that you asked for, take the tag. I'll play 3 games. My knee hurt.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Next year.
I show up at 14.
I played 3 games. My knee hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Now that I made $83 million, man, 6 games. I ain't got no miles on my car.
But see, they know, but you said the key word, coach. He's a football player.
Right.
You just want to do that.
Right. So
see,
you got to play the game now. So after that, if nobody still think I'm worth the money I'm asking for, I'm gonna take my butt on over the board. I'm gonna go play in Canada.
Hey, Steve, call Orlando Brown and tell Lamar he needs to be a businessman instead of a football player in this case.
Right. I'm gonna call Coach Duncan. I give him the deal. No, here we go. I'll take my butt on over to the Canadian Football League. Let me tell you how you're gonna max out. One, your stardom coming over to Canadian football, a wider field. You can play more the way that you play the game of football, right? They don't like the way you play the game of football over there, right? A wider field, it fits all into your game, your scheme of your game, right? Here's the big thing. You can negotiate a contract with your uniform sale with the owner of the team.
Wow.
You want to max out your money, you can get a new shoe deal from a Canadian brand and all the endorsements over there. But what's going to sell is your jersey. If you can get 20%, 30% on your uniform sale.
Yeah.
You want to be a business guy. Take your talents over the border. You'll get the money that you're looking for, and you will last for 42, 43 years old.
And the Ravens as a franchise will be
destroyed
because but see, the funny thing is they paid the tight end, they paid the linebacker they traded for immediately.
Yeah.
Wow. Putting them numbers up. Wow. Hold up. How about when Matthew Stafford got that money to keep Detroit in last place every year?
But you know what was funny is this, fellas. You know how Matthew Stafford was the last one and they didn't have a cap on the first pick, right? Because Cam came right after that.
Right.
As soon as Cam came, they put a cap on it because they said the quarterback money was getting outrageous. And
because he looked like us.
Yeah. So the last person to be able to come out of the draft was Matthew Stafford, and he was able to negotiate his contract. Because remember when Jamarcus Russell came out, he was able to negotiate his contract. So it was getting outrageous, and they put a cap on that. So that's why everything is slotted now in the draft.
Right. You talking about Derek Carr at 40? I suppose to accept 42?
Yeah.
Jared Goff at 33.5.
Right.
Dak Prescott at 40.
Grown ass Aaron Rodgers about to get 50.
I
said grown.
He got 50 last year.
Right.
And now you got the Jets clamoring over him. But when you look at his record in the playoffs, what is he? He got one championship. With all that talent, he should have had 3 or 4.
Crazy.
But the Jets are in dire straits, so they trying to get Aaron Rodgers. And if they were smart, they should have went after Lamar. That would have put him over the top.
Right.
And while we talking, Miami should have said, "See you, Tua," and put Lamar in Miami. That'll be a track meet over there.
City crazy.
There would be a track meet over there.
Crazy. Whole city crazy.
Yeah, I'll give a 5 first-round picks every year for Lamar.
Right. How old is Lamar?
He be back home.
23, 24.
Yeah, he can have. They can have 6 first-round picks. And
in Florida, no state tax, so he's gonna maximize his money.
Max out.
Yeah.
If I'm Miami, hey Tua, see you later.
Right.
Y'all take the picks. I'm gonna bring Lamar back home, and we're gonna win that division.
Right.
You think Josh Allen gonna win? Man, if they had Lamar last year, they'd win that division.
Right.
Easily.
Easy.
With all that speed.
How many games Tua missed?
Tua ain't playing no more, man. He can't take the.
He missed about 4 games last year, right?
He missed almost more than that.
So let me ask y'all this though. Would y'all take Bryce Young number 1, knowing that Tua is always hurt?
Nope.
No.
I'm gonna tell you this: Bryce Young is a good quarterback.
He is.
I didn't see anything great about him. Like, you got good quarterbacks all over college football, right? The kid from, everybody making this big fuss about the kid from
Florida,
from Shepherd.
Okay.
The Division II school, Shepherd University.
Okay.
So everybody making a big fuss about him, right? And I don't see nothing special. Like when we looked at Lamar, I was surprised he went that late in the draft. I'm like, yo, are y'all not watching Louisville?
But I wasn't surprised because they labeled him as a quarterback. They labeled him as a running back and asked him.
Running quarterback.
They wanted him to do wide receiver drills. So I wasn't surprised that he went that late.
Let's be real, right?
They put a narrative on him, though, Coach. You know how it go.
Right. Let's be real. Let's be really, really, really real. When offenses has always changed. I formation, they went to wishbone, they went to run and shoot, West Coast offense, power I, full house. I can go on and on, wing T, double wing, spread option, trips right, trips. I can go on and offense. 8-11. Y'all ever seen the 8-11 offense? Have y'all ever seen the 8-11 offense? Where everybody's spread out on the whole field. You still got the linemen on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going out and stuff like that. Like offense have always changed, right? But what has never changed? Defense. Defense schemes has never changed. You go to a run and shoot, you still trying to run the same defenses that they've been running from the 40s on spread option offenses, right? Let's be real. Yeah. In the original, this is where we got the good old boys, right? That's why they keep hiring the same people, same losers, I call it. In the original offense, for a person that was on defense, everybody was accounted for except for the quarterback. Because the quarterback did one or two things. He either handed the ball off to the running back or he threw the ball to a receiver. So it was no need to count for him because he wasn't keeping the ball.
Now the black quarterback has changed it.
Now the dual threat quarterback has changed football and they don't want to let it go. Because if the dual threat quarterback, they admit the dual threat quarterback is changing football, now they got to go back and change defenses and they have no idea how to change it.
Plus, Duncan, if they go back to original football, these quarterbacks will get killed. You got to be a dual threat quarterback because the athletes are faster, stronger, and things like that. Absolutely. If you want to go back to a regular offense, the quarterback will get murdered out there.
Let me tell you when Lamar started getting hurt. Let me tell you when RG3 got hurt. Let me tell you when Cam Newton started getting hurt.
Stay in the pocket.
Stay in the pocket. Take him from being who he was, because you drafted him because he can get out the pocket and he can be elusive in the open field. Then you get him in the NFL and you draft him as a tiger and you want to try to change him to a lion when he gets to the NFL. Two different creatures. If you draft a player out of spread option offense,
they don't play that.
You put him in a spread option system when he comes to the pros. If you remember Dak Prescott came from Mississippi State. He was in a spread option offense. Dak Prescott is probably the only person that could claim that he beat Alabama twice in his career.
Mississippi State.
Right? He beat Alabama twice in his career.
I think Trevor Lawrence beat him twice too. Trevor Lawrence beat him twice too, right?
Who?
Trevor Lawrence.
I think it was 1-1.
No, he beat him. They only beat him once.
Okay.
They only beat him once. So, but that gets to the NFL, and you put him up on the center, right? You take a Lamar Jackson who ain't never been on the center in 3 years, and you want to put him up on the center. You already said this kid can't read defenses, so you want to put him up on the center. You want him to play and turn his back to
the defense.
Turn back around and try to spot where everybody at on defense. Yeah. This is one of the reasons I keep my kids in 100% shotgun, because now they can't got to take their eyes off the defense.
And they can read the defense quicker.
Right. Yeah. I teach them how to read defense, and if they think they get ready to disguise a blitz, change your cadence. If you change your cadence, they're gonna show where they come from.
Yeah. This is it's very interesting hearing this. I was blessed to win a couple state championships in football, high school football. And the one thing we did was we was very traditional. We broke into all the zone offense. However, we ran the ball. We had an out fullback. We demolished teams because they couldn't handle our physicality.
Right.
And they never got the ball.
Right.
You know? So we took the zone. Right. So we took the zone and we used to double teams in the zone. And we always had great running backs. Yeah, running back right now, coach, he's at North Carolina State. He starts down there right now.
Okay.
Jordan Houston. And long story short, it's funny how you talk about the transition of things because now they run that 4-2-5. That's only but a nickel or a dime. That never changed in the league. That's same defense, you know. Right. And like you say, it's a 30 front, but you put that back on the line, you still in the 40 or 50 front.
Right. Yeah, that's Paul Elmo. I'm saying Elmo. We talking his name on the line.
They change the name and try to confuse you like it's something different.
I must have said I'm not a big fan of the spread and stuff like that. And I kind of like some of it. I like some of the schemes off of it.
Right.
But I love the mess out of you. And the way you beat a mess out of a team and you just pound it, you force them to bring that 8 or 9 in the box. And then I still got a 6'4" out there. I can just throw the ball up on 1-on-1.
Right.
Pick your poison. You know, I got a 4-3 kid back here. So I like football. But Coach, what you said is like very interesting because I had to come out of my old ways, but I was able to adapt some of my old way and my old style of playing and play formation into a modern day set without giving it all up. Right. So we went to shot. We went to I ain't coaching 5 years. I can't. We went to a pistol. Two guys. We still had our quarterback vertical. You know what I'm saying? Basically went to a pistol versus a shotgun, so we had them 2.5 yards, sometimes 3. Instead of 5. Yeah, so we can still do our thing, but when it get down to, we feel like the team have an edge on us, we just went to underneath the center with the eye, and we just trap, zone,
and beat them up.
So let me tell you why you would love doing the same thing with me, right? So I automatically zone everything. My philosophy is my 11 is better than your 11 in space.
Okay, yeah.
Right. My 11 is better than your 11 in space. What I do is I force the defense to have to be responsible for one person. Each person on defense got to be responsible for a person because I'm going to spread you all the way out. Because I already know you ain't shit without your homeboys.
Right.
You ever seen that dude? You ever seen that dude downtown? He only tough with his homeboys when he finds he's quiet as a church mouse.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm gonna find that one that ain't tough without his homeboy. So it's no gang tackling because everybody on my offense, my receivers, if you can't stop block, and we do stop blocking drills every day in practice. That's how we start practice. If you can't stop block, I don't give a damn how good your hands is. Every receiver can catch the ball.
Yeah.
But once you can stop block and you become that dog and you start learning how to stop block and move your feet on the stop block, my 11 is better than your 11 in space. Now I got my running back or even my quarterback one-on-one with your person that's left open. I'll take a Lamar Jackson over any linebacker and safety any day of the week.
Well, I think it's unfair because you have a Lamar and you still have a tailback. Right. So it's almost taking your poison.
Right.
It's like
that's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
My running backs have to be 6 foot or better.
Wow.
So I get I want the Eddie George, I want the Eric Dickinson, I want the guy that can't be tackled by a single person. Because I'm one. We're going to double up at the line of scrimmage, and then we're going to move to the next level. Right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is I want the fact that your man is scared to tackle without his friends. Because I'm going to create a one-on-one situation. So my running backs are going to break a lot of long runs.
Yeah.
And by the third quarter, you're going to be making a business decision on how you're going to tackle him because he's big. He's a pounder.
Yeah,
We lost.
Tackling.
but
We lost
fellas,
the right there.
yeah, let's
We
go,
lost. We
man.
couldn't stop the big boy. We lost. We couldn't do nothing.
Yeah,
You know.
hey,
So I
fellas.
love the game with that philosophy you just mentioned.
I'm
So
sorry, Jay, my fault. We got off track.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. But KB giving us the axe to get out of here, though. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys, man. Now I got y'all numbers, man. I'm definitely gonna reach out to y'all, see my videos and everything. We can connect on a lot of things, man, because this is powerful. 3 black men with knowledge and power is definitely needed. And like you said, Steve, town hall meetings and everything like that. I'll come to Oklahoma, man. I don't have no problem with that.
yeah.
That's great. We need to do.
What we can do, I know a lot of folks, man, and I know you all know a lot of folks. Maybe we could come up and plan for it, and we can do it virtual. Because once it's virtual, we have thousands of people out there. The thing is how to organize it where I think you can do it like a Zoom. You can mute everybody, somebody do whatever. But we could start, man. I think we're the innovators of life. You know what I'm saying? We come from Kemet. We come from the curation. And here's a time where we can use our power and our knowledge, like you say, we can make a difference. So whenever you guys want to get together, we can talk about it. We just come up with a date and say, hey, name it something, town hall. And I send it on to my former ball players I play with. One of my good friends, he was at Pep Hamilton. He's at with the Texans, and both of them was my quarterback at Howard. So we know quite a bit of people. My wife, her best friend is NBA referee. He does campus things. We need to send it out because this is a conversation that needs to be had in the community in the future of sports in our African American community.
Right.
So and I'm gonna start reaching out. If we reach out when we get to the league and at a nice evening setting, ain't nothing but to set the computer and do a click. Listen, if you choose to chime in, but we should have minimum 1,000 people on here. I like to aim high. We probably have more, but line up some speakers, and everybody just crowd a blast.
Right.
Let's just make it happen.
Absolutely, man. So, bless you, brothers, man. I appreciate it. See you next time. Hopefully, we can get on here and talk about these games next week and the outcomes.
Yes, sir.
Noah Staley to the championship.
Who you got for the women? Jay? South Carolina.
Yeah, and on the men's side, I got UConn.
Go LSU, huh? For the women.
On the men's side, I got UConn.
Yeah, I don't need nobody beating UConn. I don't see it.
Yeah. Hey, what's the kid Hawkins? He playing like number 34 back in the day for UConn. Ray Allen. Right. So, but man, it's been a pleasure, man. I see y'all guys, man. I'm sending y'all text messages right now.
Okay.
And I'll talk to y'all soon, man.
Oh, I like it. All right, Jay. You guys have a great night.
All right, bro. Love y'all, man.
All right.
Whether we rolling, smoking, drinking, flying, hoping, we keep it popping. We keep it popping. We keep it popping. We keep it popping. Tryna walk the wheel, but I can't focus. Cause I've been in these streets all day. Sunshine, my skin feeling gone.